Hey guys, welcome to the Massive Iron Channel. I'm Steve Shaw, Editorial Director at TigerFitness.com and Muscle and Brawn Nutrition CEO. Q&As, guys, doing Q&As. And I'm doing about 4 questions per Q&A. If you would like me to answer your question or feature it in a Q&A, you can find a link below. Check out the link to the Q&A. Post your questions up. I answer every question posted. The best questions I turn into a Q&A video like this one. Now, if I answer your question in a Q&A and you want a copy of my book, Massive Iron, all you have to do is email me. My email is linked below. You just email me, say, I want a copy of your book. No questions asked. I will send it out to you. So guys, Q&A videos. I'm going to do 4. I've been getting tons of questions, so I like doing these Q&A videos. They're better than coming up with a topic every day because I get to help you guys out. So I'm going to keep doing the Q&A. So I'm going to do about 4 questions for Q&A. So with that said, let me get rolling here. El Rey del Mundo, Nicaragua Reserva. That's what I'm puffing on today. It's a big daddy. Got that. Got my black coffee. I want to give a shout out to Elgin Intensity, who is becoming a friend of mine. We interact a lot, and we talk a lot about cigars. Me and Elgin are cigar freaks, so I'm not the only cigar freak out there in the lifting world. All right, guys, 4 questions in this video. First one is from Bearded and Ugly. He might be my long-lost brother. I wonder if the mailman had some secret rendezvous with my mother and had another bearded ugly guy. So Bearded and Ugly said, "Hi, Steve. I recently tore some ligaments in my ankle and I'm looking at some physiotherapy for a while. Not sure how long. Until then, I'm going to work out what I can. I will try to maintain leg strength with leg extensions and curls on machines if I can do it without ankle pain. Is there any advice you can give? Maybe purchase some bands or any other exercises." Look, here's my main advice, Mr. Bearded and Ugly. Mr. Bearded and Ugly, my main advice is patience. When you have a major injury, and I've had a couple, I had a major injury in my knee. I've had minor ones like glute tears, and I had a major tear in my shoulder once at work. I lifted up an empty oil drum and just tore my shoulder. Just completely random, just completely stupid. One time I was chasing my daughter around, jumped off a stone step, and just tore my calf. So both of my major tears were non-lifting related. But one thing I learned is that you can't force recovery from an injury. You have to listen to your body. You have to do the exercises you can do, and you have to take things day by day. You don't want to push the weight. You don't want to push the reps. You just want to go into the gym, see what exercises you can do them for the reps you can do safely, and then if it feels okay, try to add a small amount of weight. It might take 2 months, it might take 4 months, it might take 6 months to recover, but you can't force recovery from any type of tear, muscle or ligament or tendon or whatever. You have to take your time. I know it's frustrating, but you have to listen to your body, and you only do what you can do. Don't push it. Don't start really pushing it until your body starts to feel good. And even then, be cautious. It could take 4, 6, 8 months to fully recover. I know this is frustrating, but you have to focus on what you can control. You can control how smart you train. You can control listening to your body and only doing the weight and the volume that's appropriate. Start small, build slowly and gradually, be patient. Yes, you might lose some gains for the first 4 to 6 months. Your legs might shrink by an inch. Do what you can. Do what you can. If you can only do a light weight on leg extensions, then do rest pause leg extensions. Rest only 30 seconds between sets. No, don't rest 30 minutes between sets. You'd be in the gym all day long. Rest 30 seconds between sets or something to keep that intensity up where you keep that muscle activated without putting strain on the ankle. So Bearded and Ugly, I hope that helped. This is actually a pretty good smoke. Some of them are butt kickers. This is a very enjoyable cigar. Next question is from Gainz. Let me get some coffee, Gainz, before I get into this. If my program is based on compound movements and I'm attacking progression your way, like 5 to 10 at 12 rep range on compounds and sticking to it. Let's see here. Why 8 to 12 is blah, blah, blah. I want to know if I'm okay to stay on a 2-day per week frequency doing a push-pull leg split instead of a full body. So he basically wants to know, excuse me, if maximizing sets, I call for pushing sets for as many reps as possible, not training to failure. Wants to know if you can do this 2 days per week on a push-pull legs instead of a full body. Absolutely, Gainz. Now here's the thing you need to know. You have to look at weekly volume. So if you're doing a push-pull legs like 3 days on, 1 day off, or 3 days on, 3 days on, 1 day off, or whatever, I would recommend 3 on, 1 off, but whatever fits your schedule. You want to look at weekly volume. Okay, you don't want to do 15 sets for legs 1 day and then 4 days later do 15 sets per legs. That's 30 sets per week. It's going to crush you, and that's too much weekly volume. I would do 12 to 15, maybe 18 weekly sets max, depending on what your age is and your recovery abilities are. Probably 12 to 15 sets. So you're going to do about 6 sets per workout on a push-pull leg split. So that would be like for quads, for example. So you might go in on your leg day and do 6 sets for quads, maybe 4 to 6 for hamstrings and some calf work. So you're doing 15 sets max on a workout. That's what I would do. If you do that in combination with pushing sets for as many reps as possible, as I call for in my book, Massive Iron, you'll make all kinds of gains. You won't need to overload the volume on a daily basis, and things will go well. From there, if you're starting to feel beat up, you'll have to adjust the volume as needed, or adjust the frequency as needed. So you might need to do 3 days on, 2 days off, 3 days on, 1 day off. You might have to add in an extra rest day every 8 days or whatever. So you might have to do 2 days on, 1 day off, 1 day on, 1 day off. So like a push-pull legs over the course of 5 days. There's many ways you can slice it and dice it. If you're feeling beat up, but you feel the volume is okay, or you don't want to cut volume, you can add rest days in as well. So I hope that has helped Gainz. Gainz has another question about the diet. He says, I completely agree with the 90-10 thing. 90-10 is 90% clean whole foods, 10% whatever. I generally recommend 90-10 for guys over the age of 35 and 80-20 for everybody else. So this is diet adherence and enjoyment in one place. I actually watched your friend Mark Lobliner talk about why he doesn't like If It Fits Your Macros and why he eats like a bro. I made my own terminology. My diet is if it fits my macros and micros, meaning micronutrients. And micronutrient supply is achieved by eating a good balance with 90% of being wholesome foods. Love me some beef. I want to have a chocolate bar cool. I have some, and that will fill me up the other 10%, etc. So this is how I roll. Yeah, this is a great way to eat, because to me, diet is more than just about getting in your macros. It is much bigger than the concept of whole foods, dirty foods, Doritos versus, beef or whatever. Macronutrients is one thing, but the importance of micronutrient content can't be understated. So, I spent a lot of time, flexible eating. I would eat mostly 75 to 80% clean foods and 20% dirty foods when I was younger. One thing I learned is that as you get older, it's more important that you get your micronutrients in as well. So you start waking up at age 35, 40, and even though I was a runner for 14 years, I was in fitness and sports and lifting, even though I did all this stuff for a long period of time, even though I was in that 80 to 20% range or 75 to 25% range, you will start to feel a little worn down maybe when you get to that age of 35. You're having kids, you're not sleeping as much. It's important at that stage that you clean up your diet a little bit more and focus on your micronutrient content as well. Because diet is more than just macros, it is also micros. So I love the way, Gainz, you're looking at things. All right, next question. Question 3 is from Roscoe DC88. Great stick here. Really enjoying it. Need some coffee to go with my smoke today, kids. Some people don't like me calling you kids. It's a term of endearment. I'm nearly 48 years old, and most of you, a good portion of you, are young enough to be my sons and daughters, so I'm calling you kids just because I look at you like my sons and daughters. So somebody got really mad because I called you guys kids once. I'm not using it to put anybody down. So Roscoe DC88 says, I wouldn't necessarily call this a question. I'm curious about your expert input. I started doing timed deadlifts. I alternate my hand grip each deadlift, left over right, right over left, etc. What are your thoughts about alternating grip for each lift? I actually did that, Roscoe, for the first 2-3 years I deadlifted, because I was a little bit OCD. I want to make sure if there was any imbalances being created that I was correcting it. So that's fine. You can absolutely alternate your grips. If you feel that that one side is dominating the other, then you want to use that for your heavy sets or working sets. So if you don't feel one side is dominant and you feel just as smooth on both sides, then just alternate during warm-ups and finish how you finish. If you feel there is a dominant side, you could alternate during warm-ups, and then during your working sets, your big sets, just go with the side that feels the best. Now, do you have to do this? No, you don't have to do this. It's certainly worth a try. Now, in addition to this, I'm going to say that if you are not a competitive power lifter and you are in this for muscle building and strength building, but you don't have any plans on competing in powerlifting, then I would invest in lifting straps or VersaGrips and deadlift double overhand with the straps. That is how I deadlift. That is how I deadlift. Now, some people get paranoid and they'll say, but I would want to deadlift with, without straps so I can work on my grip. Look, don't do deadlifts if you're not going to be a power lifter. Don't worry about grip strength when you're doing your back work. Strap it up, move the weight, be smart, be safe. Straps will help you lift more weight. So if you're not going to compete, strap it up and move that weight. If you feel your grip is a weak point, you feel your forearms are a weak point, then do grip work afterwards. Don't let your grip hinder your back strength, your rowing ability, your deadlift ability. So that's a little bit more in depth than I thought I would get on this topic, but that's about as thorough as I can get. Alternate the grip if you want to, but if you're not going to compete, you might want to consider straps, or my favorite, VersaGrips. They're very durable, and do double overhand. Last question in this video is for BeardedBeastofD. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Let me get some coffee here. Got to fuel up, get my caffeine molecules. Hi, Steve. I have a couple questions regarding your Squat Everyday program that you posted on Tiger Fitness. If you guys have not seen this program, head over to Tiger Fitness or go hit Google and put Squat Everyday Steve Shaw, Squat Everyday Tiger Fitness. You'll find it. You might also find Corey Gregory's program at another website, but I think my program's better. My mom does too. So BeardedBeastofD says, I have a couple questions regarding that program. Number one, how would you recommend progressing on this? Just add weight when the allotted singles feel manageable. So originally my Squat Everyday program wasn't meant to be run in the long term, but you can certainly do so. If you're going to progress, I would add weight on the heavy days. I would just add weight on the heavy days, not frequently. You're squatting frequently, so I would add weight, maybe 5 pounds every 2 weeks or every month, depending on what level your squat is at. If you have a real heavy squat, if you're doing reps, over 365, maybe close to 400, probably try to add 5 pounds every month. I would not push the progression. But when you're adding 5 pounds to that top set, simply add 5 pounds to the moderate and lighter days and just do your reps like that. So that's how I would progress. He also says, could you recommend some general rep goal guidelines for this workout you have listed with the program? Here's the simple way to turn any program into a rep goal workout. For those of you unfamiliar with what my rep goal system is, it's all contained in my book, Massive Iron, which is linked below. But you could take any set and rep scheme, and you take the amount of sets, say they're 3, and the amount of reps, say they're 10, and multiply 3 by 10, you get 30. You can use that as a baseline rep goal. You can adjust it up 5 reps, you can adjust it down 5 reps, depending on how that exercise feels for you. There's no perfect rep goal, but I would start with that. So if a set and rep scheme calls for 3 by 8 to 10, you could go 24 to 30 as your rep goal. I'd probably start with 24 and see how that feels. So you can really just do some simple multiplication, find a starting point for your rep goal, and you can adjust it up or down based on how that particular exercise feels. Nothing magical about the rep goal system, nothing magical about these numbers. So that's really a simple way of figuring that out. Third question he has, do you recommend just doing this program with back squats? What I mean by this is no alternating pause or front squats throughout. Here's what I would do. You can use pause squats, you can use front squats on a frequent squatting program. I have no issues with that. I wouldn't alternate that, workout in, workout out. I would do like a month of squatting frequently with regular squats, a month with pause squats, and maybe a month with front squats. I would stick with blocks, maybe even 2-week blocks, because the weight's going to be different for each one. And I would alternate. I would probably do a month. That way you can get in some kind of a groove. So I hope that helps. BeardedBeastofD. Guys, that's it for this Q&A. If I've answered your question in this Q&A, you can get a free copy of my book. My email is linked below. Just come on over, email me, and ask for a free copy. I'll send it out, no questions asked. Guys, if you want your questions answered in a Q&A video, there's a Q&A link below. Come on over, post your questions up. I answer every question posted. The best questions I will turn into a Q&A video. I've been getting swamped with Q&As, with questions, so I want to just turn them into shorter, briefer Q&A videos, and I prefer to do that instead of doing topical stuff when possible. So guys, if you've made this far in this video and have yet to subscribe to my channel, please do. I'd appreciate the support. If you want to connect with me on social like Snapchat or Instagram or Facebook or whatever, all those links are below. So guys, as always, thanks for watching. Have a great day.